getting hit multiple times. Coming out of that bike section, more drivers coming to blows.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingveld Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, SimJack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often.
Brakes are one of the most important parts of a race car, and serious racers know this to be true. In sim racing, brakes are just as important as in real-life racing. But even if you have a great pedal set with a killer D-Nut Stuff brake mod installed, there is still one thing you need to win races: consistency. Introducing Brake Marker Buddy, a D-Nut Stuff sim hub app with a corny name for iRacing that can help a lot with braking consistency. Brake Marker Buddy is an overlay that gives you visual cues when you are at your braking points. Set as many brake markers around the track as you need and never overshoot a braking point again. Listen, nothing can magically find your braking points for you. Brake Marker Buddy doesn't do that. What it will do is make you more consistent, and consistency wins races.
Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
I can't count the times a race has been ruined by an AI car. The default iRacing AI drives like you are not even there much of the time. If you're like me, you want AI that is fun to race, not a demolition derby. I have spent a ton of time adjusting these AI rosters to make them as realistic as possible. The D-Nut Stuff adjusted AI rosters are more like racing a real person. The adjusted AI rosters will drive much, much cleaner than the default settings. Check them out. You won't regret it.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning from wherever you are watching. Welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting for tonight's broadcast of the American Muscle Series, live from Sebring. Tonight's broadcast sponsored by D-Nut Stuff, Chiba Hut, and GW3 Classic Liveries. Thank you very much for your support here tonight. And of course, thank you to Whiplash Sim Cams for providing us the cameras. I'm Adam Thomsen alongside Jeremy Scott in the broadcast booth. And then of course, the man behind the cameras is Ron Maunz. Tonight we go to the 3.6 mile Sebring International Raceway. And Jeremy, this is a fairly flat race circuit. And tonight we get 40 minutes of racing without a pit stop.
And Adam, normally the tires are a big question mark. Well, how are they going to fare over the whole the race? Sounds like it's actually going to be a pretty good going here for the AMS series, as the tire wear going to be hardly existent, especially with as heavy as these FR500Ss are. It's going to be a fun show, though. 40 minutes, no pit stop, as you mentioned. I can't wait.
It will be very exciting indeed, as we are in qualifying now with just a few minutes to go here in qualifying. Obviously, I have not been here, Jeremy, for the last couple of weeks, but what can you tell our viewers at home about the past couple of weeks of racing here?
Past couple of weeks of racing have been actually absolutely quite nice. I wasn't here for Zolder. I wasn't here for one of those weeks either because of a prior commitment myself. But either way, it was Portland was an interesting race in and of itself. It had its usual spills and thrills through the festival curves, but nonetheless, it's been a great run to the championship. Of course, we're inching ever so closer to the end of this series. We've got 4 races after this. A heat and a main, 2 40-minute races with pit stops, and also you got a 60-minute pit stop for double points to end out our season.
Good. And let's go ahead and take a look at our point standings here, starting with our Pro Division. Taylor Bellondo currently the leader in the Pro Division with 255 points. Luis Henriquez in second with 243. Jeff Schnackle will be in that third spot. Neil Kemp, Andrew Belling make up the top 5. David Moore currently sitting just outside of the top 5, along with Mark Cohn, David Fernandez, Cam Porter, David Finch, Matt Thompson. Chuck Labano sits 12th, along with Jay Bass in 13th. And then Brendan Renfro, Daniel Ott, Ron Wolf, and Matt Malone. Now let's go to our Challenger division. Charlie Hosey right now on top of the standings in the Challenger class with 239 points and is being challenged by Andy Bell in second. Michael Brennan also in the conversation as well. Joe Cicchetti right now in fourth, and then Brian Kennedy making up the top 5. Jeff Andrus only 20 points away from that top 5 position, and then Brandon Smith just below 200 points. Edgar Sancinelli sits 8th with Zach Miller in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Matthew Guzinda. On to our AM class, and interesting about this AM class, every driver in the top 6 has won at least one event in class, and Andy Kosick right now sits on top with 244 points. He is currently commanding that championship lead in the AM class, with Brandon Carl in second, Colin Olson third, Tom Wendt in fourth, Jeff Besnard in fifth, Merle Eichmann in sixth. Seventh goes to Paul Catlon, and John Casey Scott Brooks make up the rest of the standings. So, Jeremy, some still close battles in all of the divisions right now, from pro all the way down to AM. So it's going to get very interesting as we come down the final stretch.
It really is, and you mentioned that in the AM class, you have 6 different winners out of 7 races. Absolutely fantastic statistic, and we'll see how this all plays out. But Kosick looking pretty good so far. As you're watching, Taylor Ballant, your provisional pole sitter right now with a 23.688. David Moore, 1/100th of a second behind as well. Just goes to show you how tight things can be here at Sebring, as Ballant's letting it all hang out, coming around Sunset Bend, down across the onto the front straightaway, and through that to a little rise there in the runoff. And let's see what he can do as Belling goes quick as 23.219. Does Ballant have anything to counter? He does. 23.114.
Very close indeed. Also need to mention Matt Malone is here tonight, so good to see him here. And he is currently stopped right there at the start-finish line here, as he will go for another qualifying run potentially here today. Now, Jeff Besnard in the 2:48, the provisional pole of the AM class here, as we are getting closer, just now less than 2 minutes away from the checkered flag falling here in our 10-minute qualifying session. And now we're going to Freddie Weaver, who's currently on the provisional pole for Challenger. He's just sit there parked on turn number 1. Here's Joe Cicchetti. Right now, he currently sits 14th overall, and he is hopefully going to improve positions here. He is just less than a 10th off of Brian Kennedy's pace, so this could get interesting. I also want to mention Matt Thomsen. Matt Thomsen, 0.003 of a second away from 4th place of David Moore. It's extremely tight here, Jeremy, and the lap times are very much showing it.
We'll take a look at it's out of class, but 10th place. Charlie Hosey and Cam Porter both running the same lap time. 0.000 seconds separate the two drivers. Both have decided to call time on their session, but that is such an interesting statistic. And heck, even Matt Malone, 0.009 off of Freddie Weaver's time. So it is super, super close here.
We now head down towards the Le Mans corner here at Sebring, and down the Ullman Straight. I love this straight, I will say, because of the opportunities you can get. You can get a nice little draft going down into Sunset Bend. And if you're like me, well, Sunset Bend is not your best friend. So, and expect plenty of possible carnage in turn 17 of Sunset Bend. Good rotation here from Joe Cicchetti. Gets right over the bumps, getting that car completely unsettled, but it's not going to be enough time, and Joe Cicchetti is going to remain in 14th. Was almost there,
interesting.
Jeremy.
Almost there, yeah. But what I find interesting too is it's going to be interesting because this version of Sebring doesn't have the bridge going into Sunset Bend, so drivers who've been used to using that are going to have to find a different brake marker.
All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and talk about our starting lineup. Taylor Ballant, the 21 on the pole, and alongside him, the 24 of Andrew Belling. Row 2, Matt Thomsen and Luis Henriquez. Row number 3, David Moore and Neil Kemp. Row 4, David Finch, Freddie Weaver, Matt Malone, Charlie Hosey make up row 5. Cam Porter, Michael Brennan make up your top 12.
Let's take a look at 13th back. It's Brian Kennedy in the 111, Joe Cicchetti in the 101. And row 8, Chuck Lobato and Brandon Smith. Jeff Andrews will be alongside Jay Bass in the 53. Your AM pole sitter, Jeff Besnard, he'll be alongside Andy Kosik, your points leader there in the AM class. Laura Wiseman and Brandon Curl make up row 11. And Rosewall is Edgar Sancinelli and Matt Gazenda.
Outside of the top 24, Mike Nickum, Zach Miller in 25th and 26th. Aaron Bray, Colin Olson, Scott Brooks, and David Jensen make up the top 30. Tom Went, Merle Eichmann, and Paul Cantlon lines up this 33-car field. Well, here we go. We got through that fairly quick, so we are ready to rock and roll. 40 minutes around Sebring without a pit stop. I like these non-pit stop races. It is just a straight sprint to the finish here tonight. And if you're watching live on Slow Motion Broadcasting, this is your first time here, well, we hope you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know of everything that's happening here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. Of course, every Tuesday night, we have the American Muscle Series here. Here we go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on, and 5 lights go out, and away we go here at Sebring. What a jump there by Taylor Ballant, able to hold on to the pole position, but he's got company as they go down into turn 1, and a big hook there as multiple cars involved, but they all escape cleanly here. That was the 24 of Andrew Belling. Not entirely sure what happened, but Belling almost goes for a spin head-on into the wall. Luis Enriquez takes the lead. Neil Kemp up to second. Matt Malone has moved up 5 spots into 4th. Chuck Lobato up 6 spots into 9th. Oh, man, Jeremy, we have had almost a big crash there at the start of this one.
That could have been, that could have resembled something like Daytona. By the way, Matt Thomsen down 12 spots as he ran off, coming off of turn number 1. You see Besnard and Miller are both having to answer black flags early on, but talk about a fantastic race early in this race. Enriquez already holding off Kemp, Ballant, Malone, and more within the top 5. Your top 4 is starting to break away just a little bit. Charlie Hosey, your challenger leader, and Jeff Besnard, your AM leader, he's going to have to answer that black flag. So right now, your aggregate leader in AM is Andy Kosik, your points leader. Talk about a rough start for the 248.
That is unfortunate there for Jeff Besnard to take the pole position away from Andy Kosik. And Andy Kosik, he'll be welcoming that. But
no, he won't. He's fallen down the order.
Oh, there he is. Now that's Matt Thomsen. Matt Thomsen has had an issue here. Not entirely sure because he's off-roading that Ford Mustang right now. And Andy Kosik has a meatball flag. He is out of the race. That is not good whatsoever. Andy Kosik, oh, that is big damage to that race car, the number 250 of Andy Kosik. And he's going to stop, and he's just going to get towed back. Let's take a look. This is what has happened to Andy Kosik. He has had some big damage prior to this, as we see. We're going to go back a little bit further. So he's already damaged at this point, and unfortunate there. And, okay, here we go. Now that we got a replay, he tries to brake hard and has to hook to avoid contact, and instead of making contact with somebody else, he makes contact with the wall.
That is an odd angle to go into the wall there, heading into the hairpin. And now we see the issue with Matt Thomsen as he just breaks it loose heading into Cunningham, and already had some side-to-side damage there, but he's able to get that back going. And oh, there goes, more of Andy Kosik into the wall. And like we said, meatball flag, that's effectively race over for him.
Yes, it is. Now we're going to try and get the replay of the start because so much happened there. So here we go. They're 4 wide here. Taylor Ballant is not clear, makes huge contact, and luckily some great avoidance by everybody else to get out of the way. And that could have been so much worse. And thankfully, and we're going to look at Matt Thomsen here. Matt Thomsen's on the inside. He has almost the perfect run down into turn 1, and then all of a sudden, there is a 24 car of Andrew Belling right there, right in his door, his passenger door, and he's just gone on an off-road adventure. Matt Thomsen has had one heck of a lap number 1, and he is very much behind the 8 ball here tonight as he sits 27th overall. He has lost 24 spots, and he's going to have a drive of his life to get back just remotely into the top 10 now.
Yeah, with this no pit stop, it hurts those drivers who have those lap 1 incidents. Zach Miller still yet to answer his black flag. He's only got a handful of laps left to go until he has to before we pull him off. And there he is right there in the number 124 Frito Sport Mustang in the Challenger class. And man, just so much carnage there in the start of that race. As you see that Jansen going through Le Mans and just using those curbs with wanton abandon over, up, and over. But this suspension can really handle it. Merle Eichmann has a slowdown penalty, but there's Charlie Hosey. Good start for him, up 2 spots into the eighth place overall, and he's your Challenger leader.
Now we have a battle happening in front of us with Matt Malone in the center of it, trying to go after third place. Again, Matt Malone up 5 spots. And that's just due to all the carnage and chaos on the opening lap. But Matt Malone's not alone in this fight. He's got David Moore, David Finch, and Cam Porter all right behind, and Charlie Hosey kind of in the background of this, enjoying the show. And you got to wonder, when are guys going to start getting a little bit more aggressive? Up on the top of your screen, those are your current class leaders. Luis Henriquez leading the overall and the pro class. In the Challenger division, it's Charlie Hosey, and then Colin Olson in the lead for the AM division. Side-by-side battle here, and David Moore holding on strong here, but he lost a bit of time to the back of Matt Malone right now, and that is going to prove costly because this is a racetrack. It's quite flowy. It's quite fast. So there's not a whole lot of real heavy braking zones, Jeremy. So you're not going to make up that time as quickly as you would at, let's say, a Circuit of the Americas.
No, and that's correct. I think it's a perfect, outside of it being a very flat facility, I've been to the highest point on Sebring, and it is a viewing mount. I kid you not. But either way, it is, I think, one of the most balanced circuits that these Mustangs will race on here in this schedule this year. And yeah, you have your fast-flowing corners, your tight hairpins, and a couple of 90-degree corners. But one mistake, and you're basically going to be in the clutches of somebody else within probably a half lap.
The heaviest braking zone is into the hairpin in turn 7 as we take a look here at Jay Bass chasing down Brandon Smith. And Brian Kennedy also just behind in that white with blue stripes Mustang. And now Jay Bass making a move down the inside as they head down towards turn 17 into Sunset Bend. And he'll gladly take the spot. I thought maybe for a second he was going to clip the wall into turn 17, but he does not. Gets right back on the loud pedal and down the front straightaway. He gains 1 spot. He's up 5, and then now here at Sebring. Now, our hard charger so far of the night is currently being held by Colin Olson. Colin Olson, the AM class leader, up 11 spots right now. And he's got Laura Weissman, Edgar Sancinelli, and Aaron Bray all behind him, as now here comes Laura Weissman trying to make a move. Can't make it stick, though. Unfortunate there for Laura Weissman. Laura Weissman thought about maybe holding that move on the outside, but these types of cars, it's going to be difficult to make that outside move in turn 1.
It really is, and it's hard for any car to make a move, any GT car, I should say, to make a move into turn 1, especially these cars, as you see Olsen looking to the inside there. I think that is holding off Sancinelli, and Sancinelli's going to get the nose up front for the time being. But yeah, you try and hold the high line coming through turn 1, and you're going to be in for a bad day, and it's going to be a dirty day if you do that.
When you could just see the gap between 16th and 17th now, it's over 5 seconds now. And if you look at our track map, we're seeing 2 groups being formed here, really. We have our leaders, which is Luis Henriquez, Taylor Ballon, but that goes all the way down to 16th. There isn't really much gap in the top 16, but then there's this nice gap between 16th and 17th, and it's pretty much 17th all the way down to 28th. So really people are sticking together. So here is what Aaron Bray was doing, trying to get around Laura Weissman. Has the optimal line and does get it done. And moves up another spot. Great pass there by Aaron Bray to move up 1 spot. Laura Weissman losing some positions here on this lap. Let's head up to the race leaders now, as Taylor Ballon has taken the race lead over Luis Henriquez. And if there's anything Luis is not going to do, he is going to not back down from a fight here. And he'll play the long game if he has to. He's been very, very good this season. As we go through turn 1 and head down into, technically this is turn 2, and then turn number 3. We get a great look here at what's happening, and let's take a look at how Taylor Ballon took the race lead through the kink and into the Le Mans corner and got it right through. No problems there through 15, now turn 16, and that is that. Luis Henriquez tried to hold it on the outside, just got pushed out a little bit wide on his own. But, Jeremy, we're getting this lead battle very, very close still, and Luis Henriquez is far from out of it.
Yeah, your top 4 separated by less than a second with Ballon, Henriquez, Kemp, and Malone. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got a little bit of a gap back to David Moore and Fench, but Moore and Fench are starting to close in on this battle. Wouldn't be surprised if Porter also decides he wants to come out in and play. So, because you look, there's going to be no pit stop. So what you're seeing now is what you're going to get for probably most of the race, unless somebody puts a toe out of line. Lap down cars not going to be a factor probably till the end of the race, as you see there. Let's see, Zach Miller, he served his penalty, now going through the hairpin. Jeff Besnard not too far away. And Matt Thomsen, who had a rough go of that start, finally making his way into turn 3. And this is going to be mono for most of the race.
Well, the top 8 right in view there. As we go through Le Mans and down the Ullman Straight, headed down towards turn 17. The only thing I wish that would have changed here, Jeremy, is that we were racing a little bit more in the evening time to really give that Sunset Bend the reason why it has its name.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You know, you get your eyes, blinded by the light coming around into Sunset Bend and then going around once again. Then you hardly see the dash in front of you. So, yeah, that would have been so cool to run that in the middle of the evening. Now this just looks like your typical start at Sebring.
A move there for Matt Malone. Matt Malone finally moves up into the top 3 here. Nice to see him moving up the order. Of course, looking back at his race in San Diego, well, his race there did not quite go to plan. So he had a DNF there. So he has moved up now 6 spots here tonight. Good to see that happening. And could we possibly see Matt Malone challenge for the race win here? Again, it's a game of patience around Sebring. You gotta just find a way to gain any thousandths of a second around this racetrack to make a move anymore. It's hard. The only heavy braking zone, as mentioned earlier, is into turn 7. That is the hairpin. So really, you don't have very many opportunities to outbrake somebody or outmaneuver somebody headed into a heavy braking zone, Jeremy.
No, there's not that many opportunities to begin with. So you got to make your opportunities the best that you can. As this battle for the lead is going to be quite interesting. And I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of tangoing as they work their way through the back part of the circuit right now. And we'll see how it all plays out. But I think, you know what, nobody's showing their hand just yet. We're a little bit close to halfway. But I have a feeling with 10 minutes left to go, that's when all bets are off.
Now let's go to the Michael Brennan versus Joe Cicchetti battle here. And, of course, right in front of them is Freddie Weaver. Freddie Weaver's going, please, boys, please fight it out. Please leave me alone. As Freddie Weaver currently in the top 10 in the Freedom Sport 119. And you can see going down that straightaway, the drafting is becoming a huge help for some of these drivers right now. Down that back straightaway, opens up the inside this time. Michael Brennan can't make the move, but we're going down the front straightaway. He's going to try and pull up alongside. They head down the front straightaway and into turn one. The outside move is going to have to be for Michael Brennan, and what a block there from Freddie Weaver.
Absolute awesome block there. And you know, that's one thing one point I want to make too, is because of how thick these cars are, they punch a good hole in the air. So the draft is going to be king through this stretch. Right now you're watching this battle back here for position between Nickum, Brooks, and Wentz. Actually, Wentz further back. So this is Nickum and Brooks to work their way, sliding those back tires around turn number one. It's going to be Brooks' position for the time being, but can Nickum dive to the inside in three? Indeed, but look at how deep that those noses are, and it's going to be Nickum once again who gets that position back, but these two are just scrapping for every position. You almost think that we're running here at Jurassic Park. Oh, that's not a very good thing for Nickum, as he's going to have to give that position up, going shortcut in the course there through Big Bend.
Well, Mike Nickum still holding on to has lost the 25th spot to Brooks, but these two still side by side, still battling out through the hairpin and the S's there. And now we'll head down towards turn 8 towards Fangio. And Mike Nickum doing everything he can to hold on to 25th. I mean, that's the one crazy thing about all these battles here, is how close everybody is and how much they're willing to fight, even if it's for the back of the pack positions. You know, 25th, 26th, these guys are fighting hard for this.
Exactly. Every point matters, especially the closer that you get to the end of the season. We only have a handful of races left, so not many opportunities to make any sort of moves on the track to give yourself that extra point advantage. As you see Tom Wendt closing in. He was further away a little bit a while ago. Same with Merrill Eichmann as he's closing in. And once they get in there, that battle's going to be for the podium here in the AM class, as Colin Olson done and dusted. Basically, that is a huge gap between Olson and the rest of the AM class.
Colin Olson right now up 10 spots, tied with Aaron Bray right now for the hard charger position. Colin Olson, your AM class leader. What a nice profile picture. He's a bass player, it looks like. So down there on our screen. And now Taylor Ballant now up front against everybody. He's got Luis Henriquez and Matt Malone to keep an eye on right now. We have a great look of this battle happening. Still the top 8, but now it's turned to the top 7, fairly close to each other here, Jeremy. And seems like the longer this goes on, the more drivers dropping off this lead pack, but the top 7 still staying pretty much nose to tail.
You know, it's easier said than done to stay on the back of the lead pack, because after a while, it's like, do I really want to burn my tires up staying with these guys? when I can run my own race and still have a decent gap back to whoever I'm battling with. You see Cam Porter in that number 71 looking nice and tidy. I have a feeling he'll be the next car that's just going to drop off the back here as they work their way down the backside of the roadway. Andrew Belling into the pits. That gives Thomsen a chance to leapfrog him. So Thompson's moving up one spot. He's still 30 seconds behind Jeff Biznard, but still this battle for the lead heating up as Ballant able to open up a little bit of a gap between he and Henriquez.
Matt Thomsen right now sits 30th overall and has a 30-second gap to climb to Jeff Biznard. There's the look at the battle now, and it looks like Taylor Ballant's trying to stretch his legs a little bit here. And I'm thinking maybe Luis Henriquez has decided, hey, I'm going to back off a little bit here, save some tires a little bit. Coming into the race, we were saying that there was talks of that tire wear might not be as big of an issue as it would be with other classes, but the way these guys are sliding around, moving around and everything, I think we might be seeing a little bit more higher tire wear here as we take a look at Chuck Labano trying to make the move here. Sitting in the top 10, going for 9th over Michael Brennan, who's going to have to be forced out to the outside. And here comes Joe Cicchetti. Cicchetti trying to make some moves as well. Not going to happen. There's Freddie Weaver. Excuse me, that was Freddie Weaver trying to make a move. And now a little bit of door banging happening here with Chuck Labano and Michael Brennan. Brennan holding on to the spot for now, but Labano getting a little bit aggressive, but that argy-bargy action coming from Michael Brennan. That's one of the nice parts about these kinds of cars is that you can door bang a little bit, not destroy the race car.
Adam, but in terms you'd understand, that was just a little bit of a hip check. No harm, no foul. Everybody's able to get their way going. Once again, Labano still all over the back of Brennan. This is not for class position, more for overall position. And Hosey's hoping that Labano can leapfrog Brennan because that gives him a little bit of breathing room in the point to work their way through Cunningham. Now setting up for the run into Tower Corner. Is a still single file for the most part, but you see a little look to the inside, not going to make it happen. And now that we're at the halfway point, though, I think that you're going to start to see probably a little bit more daring moves that you wouldn't have seen in the first half of the race.
Well, we are officially halfway done with this one. 21 minutes in the books and another 19 minutes to go. And things getting a little bit more dicey, and you gotta wonder, are these tires screaming and yelling, or are they staying the course, as we were told during pre-race by a couple of drivers, as we get a nice little look at that engine in these Ford Mustangs. That was quite the look there, Jeremy.
Hang on to that, Chuck, as you slide your way around the outside. Sunset Bend will lose one, maybe two positions, but he still keeps Freddie Weaver behind him. But I got to ask, I think that was a Coyote motor that we saw in there. Either way, I love how sometimes these onboard shots, you get to see the inside of the other driver's car. Technology's quite neat on that. But either way, Cicchetti sitting up there trying to get around Weaver, and that's for the third spot in the podium. As now Weaver's trying to go around the inside. Labano thinks better of it, heading into 3.
Well, Chuck Labano did not even lose a single spot after going completely wide and almost to the wall out of Sunset Bend, but he did lose a little bit of time to Michael Brennan. This is a great battle that we are watching here. You can tell that Labano, he's getting a little bit antsy. He wants to make the move, doesn't get a great exit. That leaves him very vulnerable for Freddie Weaver to maybe think about making a move as we head down towards turn 8 and 9. And this is where things get a little bit hairy. Good momentum there from Freddie Weaver, but can't make a move. And for Michael Brennan right now, Michael Brennan's loving this. He's like, you all fight this out. I'm just going to remain in this 9th spot and just be in the top 10. But Michael Brennan's got to feel the pressure a little bit, knowing that one mistake and he could lose 4 spots.
Yeah, he could lose 4 spots, but really he has his sights set on Hosey. Granted, he's 3 seconds ahead, and you got a battle back there. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Let's see, you got Labano, Weaver, and Chiacchetti trying to scrap and scrimp for every bit of position here. And even Jay Bass, look at him back there in 13th overall. Good showing out of the number 53. Down the back straightaway they come, the Ullman straight, and then they'll hit the brakes and hit the hard right-hander, as now you see Bass looking to the inside of Chiacchetti, trying to get that 12th spot. Brandon Smith has gotten 1 spot off of Andrus as Andrus goes around there. But see, that's the downfall here of Sunset Bend. You think that you've got a good run, but sometimes that anchor just drops and you're being pulled back.
Well, looking further back here, Jeff Andrus and Brandon Smith battling it out for 14th position here, and they got nobody around them to worry about as we head into turn number 1. Brandon Smith right there trying to get by, but it's not going to happen here. And see that Brandon Smith, he's happy. He's really content right now just following, not making a move, because he doesn't have really anybody behind him pressuring him to make a move happen right now. He's got a 4-second gap behind him, behind this battle here for these. And now we go to Laura Wiseman. Laura Wiseman right now sitting 19th overall behind Colin Olson. And it's a little bit of a gap as Edgar Sanchinelli going to battle with Wiseman now, and Dave Jansen sitting in 21st in this battle as well.
Giacchetti gets a slowdown. Besnard gets a meatball, so his race effectively over as well. We'll see how all these play out here, but we're getting a little spicy here, a little past halfway, as you see Dave Jansen closing in on Sanchinelli. Carl not too far away there, should something happen there. But now we're seeing these packs that we figured would start to battle each other in the next 5 minutes, beginning those battles a little early.
Let's see, take a look and see what has happened here to Jeff Besnard. There wasn't an event, any incidents on our screen, on our event log, and looking. Being told it could have been a money shift problem.
Box full of neutrals.
Looks fine there. And it's still going down. Now we're going down the Ullman Street on the replay. So it's still TBD. So we're still trying to figure out what has happened here to Mr. Besnard in the 248. Swung out wide there. No harm, no foul, but we'll go back to live action. He's still out there.
If you take a look at that left front, though, it looks a little bit bent up. The tire looks a little towed, just a little towed out. So that could be the problem right there.
Oh, yeah. You can tell that he's actually kind of struggling behind the steering wheel there. If we can get a look at his steering on our broadcast. Yeah, he's, well, the great timing there. See what happens here. Oh yeah, you can tell he's struggling a little bit. It's wanting to really turn to the right, and Besnard will come in. Unfortunate there because he was sitting quite well. As we go back to Laura Weissman now, they have been able to pull out a little bit of a gap over Colin Olson. Here comes Sanchinelli down the inside of Colin Olson, makes a little bit of contact through the hairpin, and gets out of the S's and takes the spot, but Colin Olson not going anywhere just yet. But Olson could lose another spot here. Here comes Jansen side by side with Colin Olson as we head down towards turn number 10. And there's now side by side Edgar Sancinelli kind of muscling his way through. Now Dave Jansen trying to muscle his way through as well, but Colin Olson's going to put a stop to that.
Yeah, Olsen better put a stop to that because Brandon Carl's sitting back there a lot closer than he was earlier on in this race. And you're on board with the second place driver in the AM class, watching Olsen and Jansen go side by side, headed towards Le Mans. But I've got to say this, if you're Carl, you're really licking your chops at this point because you know that you could have a chance at the lead here in the AM class.
Ooh. Well, somebody was completely sideways up the road here. That could have been bad. That was Sancinelli. Sancinelli almost had that car completely 90 degrees headed towards the wall.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be 90 degrees towards that wall because that will definitely be a race ender as they work their way around Sunset Bend. Hello, Olsen goes high, wide, and handsome, and he's going to go around, actually have Sancinelli hold him off. So now Olsen has Sancinelli and Jansen behind him to kind of gap Carl, but Sancinelli goes to the inside. They're going to go neck and neck through turn number 1. Sancinelli has the nose out front, but can Olsen make something happen through 3? He's going to set up for 1 through the kink at 2, which is more of a turn 2 than at Road America. And I don't think that Olsen's going to have enough room to make a dive to the inside. So 2 cars between becomes 1 car between he and Brandon Carl.
Well, Colin Olson thought he had an opportunity to get Edgar Sancinelli back, but it does not happen. Dave Jansen also right behind as well. Just sticking there almost side by side. Jansen has the inside, almost gets cut off. That could have been disastrous, but Olsen off the racetrack, and now they're side by side. Jansen, he will move up into the 20th spot and try and get away from Olsen, but Olsen with a better line through another kink here at Sebring International Raceway. But Jansen with the inside line here now, and will finally dispatch of Colin Olsen. Now we're going back out front as Luis Henriquez trying to make a move. Here comes Matt Malone as well. He took a peek, trying to get around Taylor Ballant. Doesn't happen. Luis Henriquez goes through. Here comes Matt Malone down the inside and trying to get through Sunset Bend. He is right there side by side with Taylor Ballant. Ballant has nowhere to go, and he finally gets back in line. But what a move there by Luis Henriquez. Saw the opening, and he took complete advantage of that. What a battle here with a race lead. Matt Malone almost saw him get the 2-for-1 special there.
Tell you what, that's a move that you see reserved for the early days of winter in the Chicagoland area as he saved that car from going sideways. And now I think that he had a view of open racetrack. I have a feeling these next 10 minutes could make or break Matt Malone if he's going to be able to make his way to the front. But if Ballant and Henriquez both start scrapping each other soon, it can be a chance that Malone will have to get up there. Here comes Ballant to the inside of Henriquez. Henriquez is blinking, so that could be a problem later on in the race. As now you see Ballant up at the front. Here comes Henriquez. Malone trying to make it 3 wide coming out of the hairpin, heading over towards Cunningham. Ballant, Malone side by side. As you see Malone, he is now your leader as Henriquez is blinking. That could have been really nasty as he gets in front of Ballant. Malone in second place. Henriquez your leader for the time being, but if Henriquez keeps blinking, he could be pulled off of the racetrack.
Yes, that could be an absolute disaster here for our race leader. And Luis Henriquez, he knows he's having a problem because there would be definitely some sort of signs that he would see right now. And everybody's starting to really bunch up here in the top 5. This is going to be a barn burner of a finish as we now approach 7 minutes to go. And this is getting crazy out here as Matt Malone holding on to second. And I think they backed off a little bit, knowing that Henriquez is blinking. there is nothing worse than having to race side by side with somebody who's blinking, who may or may not see you. You do not want to collect those incident points here at Sebring. And for Neil Kemp and the rest of the top 5, they are being dragged back into this battle for the race lead.
Are you really surprised that they're being dragged into the battle? Because look, those top 3 were going tooth and nail the past lap or so. And now you see Malone and Ballant closing within striking distance of Henriquez. How Henriquez got back after that last blink without any kind of penalty is beyond me at this point as you're watching out of the nose of Ballant.
Well, this is going to get very interesting. It's getting spicy here at Sebring International Raceway as we now officially have 6 minutes to go here, so the pressure is on. And these drivers, well, as the kids say, they're going to cook here. And this is going to be a fantastic finish as we approach the end of this one, because I think Matt Malone, he's got some good speed right now. Last lap time, a 2:24.58 for Luis Henriquez. It was a 2:23.84, but he's got the clean air. He wasn't really battling with anybody. And Matt Malone is right there on the tailpipe of Luis Henriquez. What a battle we got going here. This is going to be a crazy finish and maybe some fireworks afterwards, and you're probably going to hear some, wouldn't be surprised if some words are going to be spoken to some of the drivers to each other after this one, with all the carnage and chaos that we have seen here tonight. And this is going to get very, very interesting, as we now have 5 minutes to go. That's only a couple of laps, as we're seeing lap times in the 2:20s. So, Jeremy, this is going to be one heck of a finish as we approach the closing laps.
It's going to be a barn burners. Malone's all over the back, and Henriquez going through into Le Mans, and then they'll make the right into down the Almond Straight, I should say. Malone getting within the draft distance. You're on board with the number 83. And Henriquez saying, look, you want to pass me? You got to do it on the high side. Here's the thing. Malone's crazy enough to make it happen. Indeed, he is. Oh, look at the block that Henriquez is doing. Might as well call that the Pruitt fade. And here comes the 83. Henriquez dives deep into Sunset Bend. That's going to bring Ballant back into the picture as well. Side by side. Now back to single file. Malone tries to go around the outside. Now he's setting himself up quite nicely for turn 1. Here comes Malone as they're now door handle to door handle going into turn number 1. Who's going to play chicken and break first? It's going to be Henriquez, but he still gets a good run. High, wide, and handsome around turn number 1. They're side by side with Malone still having the preferred line going into the braking zone in turn number 3, and he's just going to dive a little bit deeper. And here comes Henriquez. This time, closing the door doesn't work as Ballant gets shoved to the inside.
David Moore, I think, made a little bit of contact going through turns 3, 4, and into 5. To move Taylor Ballant down to 4th. Matt Malone, now your race leader here with Luis Henriquez in tow. Matt Malone, I'm going to say it right now, that man used what is called driver smarts. He knew he wasn't going to be able to make the move through turn 17, but he set himself up to have the optimal line through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ballant got moved right there and goes down to 4th. You got to feel bad for Taylor Ballant, as he was down on the pole, was battling all night long for the race lead, and now he sits in 4th behind, sits in 3rd as he finally got around David Moore. This could get very interesting. I feel like we're still not done seeing everything we need to see in this one. Sebring is delivering here, but Matt Malone, he is also getting some huge, a little bit of breathing space between him and Luis Henriquez. Henriquez, though, sniffing the exhaust fumes off of the 83 machine right now. And you can see that Taylor Ballant is trying to get back, but it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle now. It's almost a second gap between second and third. Luis Henriquez now, as we got a great look with the nose cam as we go down into turn 17. Matt Malone, he's going to cut the move off through into Sunset Bend here, and he's going to be happy about this. And there goes Taylor Ballant, goes way wide there and has to make a course correction here, and that just causes him to lose more time now as the gap has now increased down over 1.2 seconds. So this is going to get very interesting. Here comes Luis Henriquez. He's going to try and make the outside move. Now they're side by side, headed down into turn number 3, possibly door contact coming, not this time, but now Luis Henriquez going to see himself possibly on the optimal line here. Yes, he will, as they head down Big Bend, in which heads towards the hairpin, and for Luis Henriquez, he's going to be happy about that. But I think Matt Malone, he may have a trick or two up his sleeve here to stay on that outside line and continue to hold on as they still side by side, rubbing elbows. Jeremy, this is getting so good. What a race we're seeing here.
I'm practicing my Chicago speak for 2 weeks. It feels like a race down the Dan Ryan right now with Malone and Henriquez, as Malone's going to pinch him off there going into Cunningham. They're side by side. Here comes Henriquez as he forces the issue there through Cunningham, but Malone still able to get on the curb and slide his way around, and he's going to pinch him off here in Tower Turn, as Malone will not have the advantage there. Henriquez has it as he gets out front for the time being, but Malone gets the better run coming down to the checkered flag. I've got to say this, Adam, it's going to be a race to the finish as Malone finally back out front, cuts off Henriquez and gets up to the lead.
Matt Malone holding it strong out in front with Luis Henriquez, Taylor Ballant in tow. Now they're going through into turn 16 in Le Mans and down the Ullman Straight. Someone's going to go home with tears. Someone's going to go home with a smile on their face as we go back down the Ullman straightaway. Matt Malone breaking the draft as they head towards Sunset Bend. The checkered flag will fall this time, and Matt Malone holding strong onto it into turn 17. Taylor Ballant trying to wrap it around the inside. This is going to be a drag race to the line here. Here they come down the front straightaway. Matt Malone, he is going to take the win here at Sebring International Raceway.
That was one heck of a finish where Charlie Hosey comes across the final corner, and he will take your challenger win tonight. Checkered flag is out for him, and we got to wait a while as Colin Olson, he may have a challenge here for the lead as Brandon Carl is closing in ever so slightly. The 254 doing what he can to stay out front. They make their way into Sunset Bend right about now. Heavy on the brakes, Olson is, and Carl getting a little squirrely there through the corners. He's going to slide his way up. It's going to be too little too late. Checkered flag is out. Colin Olson is going to come across the line, and he is going to win in the AM class.
What a race. What a race all across the board tonight. We started with chaos and carnage, and after 40 minutes, Matt Malone is your overall winner here tonight and your Pro Division winner. What a race that we saw to the line all the way down. 40 minutes of action. And honestly, folks, if you don't like that type of racing, don't watch it all, as the famous Kyle Busch once said. And of course, you want to see all that type of racing over and over again, you got to click that subscribe button here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. What a race.
Absolutely incredible. You know, we talked about the 40 minutes and how it, you know, we knew that there was no pit stops. We knew how much mayhem and calamity it was going to be. And I think from the drop of the green flag, like you said, it made for a lot of, I just cannot believe what we saw in the racing, to say the least. Absolutely spectacular up and down the grid.
It was absolutely fantastic. Love it, love it, love it. That's the kind of thing we like to see. And we're going to go ahead, and we forgot to do something tonight, and that is our sponsor reads with just how entertaining of a race this was. So we're going to go ahead and give some loves to our sponsors here tonight, and we'll start off with D-Nut Stuff. You got the rig, the screens, and the passion, but when you're driving into the Corkscrew at Laguna Seca, do your pedals feel like a world-class GT3 car or a toy, Jeremy?
They kind of feel like a Spec Miata sometimes.
Okay. Well, it's time to upgrade your immersion with D-Nut Stuff. We specialize in high-performance sim racing mods designed to give you the trail-breaking precision and throttle control you've been missing. From our legendary DNX and HVD pedal kits to custom spacers and clutch mods, we build gear for racers who demand more than stock. Whether you're like me, a casual Sunday driver, or a daily iRacing grinder, our kits for Fantech, Simpson, Huskenfeld pedals are engineered to help you find those extra tenths of a second. Stop settling for good enough and start hitting your marks with total confidence. D-Nut Stuff, sim racing gear, serious mods for serious racers. Visit dnutstuff.com and dial in your rig today. We also want to thank Chiba Hut. Look, we've all been there. You're staring at a menu of a sad, cold corporate sandwiches and thinking, there's got to be something better than this. At Chiba Hut, we've been flipping the bird to the status quo since 1998. We're not just making sandwiches, we're curing the munchies with the dankest toasted subs on the planet. From our signature White Widow to the Kali Mist, every sub is homegrown, toasted to perfection, and served up in a joint where you can actually relax. Need to kill that cotton mouth? We got local craft beers on tap and plenty of Kool-Aid to keep you hydrated. Whether you're stopping in or flying it to your door, we've got exactly what you need to stay stoked. Chiba Hut toasted subs, swing by our shop in your area or order online. Chiba Hut, toasted since 1998. Thank you very much. And let's go ahead and take a look at the results. Matt Ballone, your overall race winner here tonight with Taylor Ballant in second. Luis Henriquez comes home to third. David Finch and David Moore fourth and fifth. Neil Kemp in sixth. Cam Porter in seventh. Winning the Challenger division tonight, Charlie Hosey. And behind him was Michael Brennan. And rounding out the top 10 tonight, Freddie Weaver finishing third in the Challenger class. Chuck Labano in 11th, Jay Best in 12th, Joe Cicchetti in 13th, Jeff Andrus in 14th, 15th goes to Brandon Smith, Brian Kennedy in 16th, Aaron Bray in 17th, 18th, Laura Weissman. And 19th goes to Edgar Sancinelli, and rounding out your top 20, Dave Jansen. Jeremy?
Take a look at the rest of the field. Colin Olson, your AM winner in 21st. Brandon Carl, 22nd. Try to have a good run there to see if he can make a final push to the finish. Unfortunately, a wide run through Sunset Bend ended that. Mac Azenda, Mike Nickum, 23rd, 24th. Tom Went, the bottom step of the AM podium at 25th. 26th to Scott Brooks, Zach Miller, and Merle Eichmann, 27th and 28th. And the rest of the field looks like this. It was Matt Thomsen, the last car on the lead lap in 29th. Jeff Besnard, Andy Kosick, Andrew Belling, and Paul Cantlin, all out of this race.
And there we go, folks. What a race we had here. And, of course, we get to talk to our class winners tonight. And I am, of course, going to bring in our overall race winner here, and that is Mr. Matt Malone, our overall winner tonight. Matt, what an entertaining race that we just got to witness. Talk about just the hard-fought battle there.
Well, that was pretty intense there. I think with about 10 minutes to go, everybody was like, all right, let's race. Because I think we were kind of saving our tires a little bit because the track temp was so hot. So we were just kind of riding. And then about 10 minutes to go, guys were really starting to push. I'm like, all right, it's go time. But yeah, the last couple laps side by side, so clean, so strong. and so much fun.
Well, you avoided the carnage at the beginning and you moved up 6 spots. Were you just thinking, hey, I got a chance now tonight?
Yeah, I found myself, in the lead pack. You know, I'm in the draft. I'm like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity to just sit in the draft and save my tires and just ride with these guys, see if I have pace to even keep up with them. And then once I realized that, I'm like, okay, we can calm down just a little bit and just kind of ride with them and save something till the end.
And just talk about just really everything. I mean, as a whole, you and Lewis were just side by side for those last 5 minutes of this one. Very clean, no dirty tricks or anything like that. But it seemed like you were thinking far enough ahead to make the move stick.
Yeah, I mean, Luis, great driver. I've raced with him a lot. I can trust him. I can trust all these guys. So it's so much fun when you have an opportunity to get side by side with some of these drivers, and it's going to be clean, but it's going to be hard racing. So you have to you got to pick your moment to strike, and hopefully it sticks. And I think what really helped me make it stick is just the fact that I saved my tires throughout the race. So I think I had a little bit more left in the tank than they did at the end.
And anybody you would like to thank for getting yourself on the top step of the podium?
Well, I want to thank Megabyte for always reminding me of all the races that I miss because of other obligations. But no, I just want to thank you guys and the whole community keeping this car alive. And really want to thank everybody that is responsible for making this race happen at the expo that's coming up. And I'm going to be part of that. And I'm just really happy that this car has a place to shine, and maybe more and more people will appreciate it, and maybe if we can pull the right strings, iRacing will give us some favors or stuff like that. And I couldn't have done it without the chat, obviously, and Gamer Muscle with the raid. But you guys do a great job, and just the whole community. Props to you guys. This was a lot of fun, and I'm just glad I can take part in it when I can.
Well, thank you, Matt, for joining us here. When is the next race we hope to see you at?
Maybe in 2 weeks from maybe 2 weeks from now, or the expo, I guess.
All right. Well,
so home field advantage for you, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to that, and congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Matt Malone, our race winner here. Let's talk to our challenger winner here tonight, Charlie Hosey. Charlie, that race, I don't know how much you got to catch much in front of you, but that was definitely a hard-fought battle to the end.
It sure was. The track, I don't know if I've seen track temps pushing 138, 140 like that in a while. That was tough. That start was crazy. Got a little bit lucky and fortunate to get through there, and almost took out Cam Porter unintentionally, so apologies to him. But I ended up actually under fueling a little bit, so I was doing a lot of lift and coast and just tire conservation, and just watching the gap between me and it was Freddie Weaver for a while, and then Mike Brennan, and boy, Mike was hauling the mail towards the end there, so I'm glad the race ended when it did.
Obviously, you're leading the points in the Challenger division, and that is got to feel really good, especially after tonight getting another win under your belt.
For sure. And hopefully a clean driver as well, point or whatever they give. So, yeah, no, anytime you can get a win is it's a great night. So.
And who would you like to thank for getting you on the top step of the podium in the Challenger class?
Well, thank you guys at Slow Motion Broadcasting and Chiba Hut, D-Nut Stuff, and Ed, Mike. Of course, got a shout out to my wife and daughter watching here at home. So thank you.
Well, congratulations on a class victory tonight here at Sebring, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. See you later.
Charlie Hosey, our Challenger class winner here tonight. And now we will talk to our AM class winner, Colin Olson. Colin, probably an unlikely scenario tonight, and you come home with the AM class win.
I do. It's my my lap ones have always been pretty good, and I found myself right next to all the front runner AMs. I know Jeff qualified really good, and I was next to him and Andy. Andy went off in, I think, turn 10, went left into the wall. I don't know what happened to him. So I just had really Jeff to worry about, and I got past him almost immediately, and I was by myself for I wouldn't say by myself, but by myself in the class for a large part of the race until Brandon was sneaking up on me, but I managed to hold him off and secure the win tonight.
Well, it's got to feel good, especially coming into this one. Obviously, Andy Kosick going out as early as he did. This cuts down his advantage right now in the point standings.
Oh, it does. Don't worry. I'm tracking it like an eagle eye. I got tabs on absolutely everybody, too, so.
Talking about that lap one, I mean, it was just carnage everywhere. How did you keep the nerves calm just to be able to navigate your way through it?
I don't know. I've done so many official races that I guess I've gotten good at navigating my way through the carnage, and I know, what was it, about a year and a half ago, I used to get on every day after work, do 4 or 5 races a day every single week. So I got really good experience under my belt, and I was never competitive, but then I started running Mustang Challenge back when they had these FR500s, so I got to know the car pretty well and got to know the guys that were, driving AMS before I actually joined the league. So combined with the massive amount of experience I have on track and the time I've spent with this car in Mustang Challenge for about a couple seasons before they retired it, I would say I'm at a pretty good advantage. Now the only thing obviously left is the standing starts, which I think I got it down to a science.
Well, that's always good. Anybody you would like to thank for getting yourself on the top step of the podium?
Oh, man. Not really today, I guess, other than Ed. It was good battling with him. I know he, kept asking for practice sessions. They ran Sunday, and I wasn't able to make Sunday. Wasn't able to make last week either, but that's a different story for another day. But I was running 2 hours by myself Monday, and then today I ran basically a trial AI race by myself, and I almost finished in exactly the same position I did tonight.
That is always good. Consistency is the key, isn't it?
I guess so, but with AI, you never know what's going to hit you. So I know my AI race, I spun out turn 4 by running into the back of somebody, and fortunately I didn't have it this race, so.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week from Barber.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you to Colin Olson for joining us here. Well, Jeremy, how do we wrap this one up?
That's a good question. Sebring always has its way of showing that it likes to pick its winners. We thought there for a while that Henriquez probably would be the winner, but Malone near the end came up through the front and showed that even the best laid plans are all for naught. I think that Sebring delivered and maybe even over-delivered, because this, from start to finish, had me guessing who's going to win each class. I enjoyed every second of it.
It was incredible to watch here tonight. And, of course, you got to watch it all live here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, which, again, reminds me, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. If you like racing like that, then this is the place to be. Now, what is upcoming here? Well, here in just about over 10 minutes, just under 10 minutes, we have our Sim Racers Group F4 race here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. So you can check that out here in about 10 minutes. But tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern, the Sim Racers Group F3 Fixed live from Barber. Then the Rick Matek GT3 Challenge live from Long Beach at 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Then Sunday, August 30th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Ray Esports Summer Series live from Brands Hatch. And then we will be back here with the American Muscle Series from Barber Motor Speedway on at 9 o'clock. And then, of course, our next week broadcast, SRGF4, is at Laguna Seca. Street Nights Racing returns live from Willow Springs. And then the Sim Racers Group F3 Fix Series live from Monza. And the Ray Esports Racing on Sundays live from Mid-Ohio. Then, of course, we have our big race coming up here as well. We have the runoffs, the Ray Esport Weekend Warrior runoffs happening September 12th through the 13th. Well, Jeremy, thank you very much for your efforts here tonight. Thank you to Ron Maunz, and thank you for all of you at home watching here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. My name is Adam Thomsen. For Jeremy Scott, Ron Maunz, and everyone here at Slow Motion Broadcasting and the American Muscle Series, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next Tuesday live from Barber.